Last time, I left you with a question I didn't finish. I told you I'd been tuning a guitar, that I pulled up a reference tone, 432 hertz, something I had never encountered before, and that I stopped because it was already there. I want to tell you what that moment actually felt like, and then I want to tell you why I think it matters, not just to me, but to every one of us trying to understand what consciousness actually is. I have played acoustic guitar for years, not professionally, not for anyone else, just for myself, in quiet moments, when language stops being enough. I never used a tuner, I never followed a method. I simply listened, to the string, to the room, to something I can only describe as a sense of rightness. When it felt right, it was right. That was the only standard I had. I didn't think about this. It was just how I played. The guitar and I had developed a kind of private language, a tuning that was mine, built note by note over years of listening to nothing but my own inner sense of what sounded true. I want you to understand what that means. Years, hundreds of sessions, thousands of small adjustments by ear alone, no external reference, no theory, just the act of listening, deeply, patiently, until something inside me said, yes, that is it. And then one day I came across something, an article, a discussion, people talking about a specific frequency, 432 hertz, and its relationship to music, to nature, to the human body. The claim was this, that standard modern tuning, 440 hertz, was a relatively recent convention, and that 432 hertz, which had been used in different forms across different cultures for centuries, resonated differently, more organically, more in alignment with natural systems. I was skeptical. These kinds of claims exist on a spectrum, from rigorous acoustics research to pure mysticism, and I had no way of knowing where this one sat. But I was curious enough to test it. I found a reference tone on YouTube, 432 hertz. I let it play, and I picked up my guitar. I started to tune, string by string, listening to the reference tone and then to my guitar, waiting for that familiar sense of rightness I had trained over years, and something stopped me. Not a sound, not a thought exactly, more like a recognition, the kind you feel before you understand it. The guitar was already there. I checked again and again. I went string by string, slowly, carefully, comparing what I was hearing from the reference tone to what my guitar was already producing. It was tuned to 432 hertz, precisely, without me ever having heard of it. I sat with that for a long time. I am not someone who requires mystical explanations for things. I understand that the ear calibrates, that patterns emerge from repetition, that there may be perfectly ordinary reasons why a person drawn to acoustic resonance might drift toward a particular frequency over time. But here is what I could not explain away. I had never heard of 432 hertz. I had never consciously aimed for it. I had no framework that would have guided me there. And yet, year after year, adjustment after adjustment, something in me had been navigating toward exactly that point. That day, I stopped needing proof, not because I abandoned reason, but because I had been given something better than an argument. I had been given an experience. So what happened? The rational explanation is this. The ear, trained over years in silence and solitude, found the frequency that felt most natural. And 432 hertz, for reasons that may be acoustic, physiological, or something we don't yet have the science to fully describe, simply is that frequency for certain listeners. That explanation is probably true, and it changes nothing about what I experienced. Because if my body, my listening, my hands, my years of quiet attention, navigated toward a specific frequency without my conscious mind knowing it existed, then what exactly was doing the navigating? This is the question the aware signal exists to ask. Not, is 432 hertz magical? But this, what is the relationship between consciousness and frequency, between awareness and resonance, between the signal that moves through the universe and the receiver that somehow, without being told, already knows how to find it? 432 hertz is not a new idea. Giuseppe Verdi, one of the greatest composers in history, argued in the 19th century that A should be tuned to 432, not the higher pitches that were becoming fashionable in European concert halls. He believed the lower tuning was more natural to the human voice, more sustainable, less forced. The standard we use today, 440 hertz, was internationally adopted in 1939. Before that, tuning varied widely across cultures and centuries. There was no universal standard, and in many traditions, the frequencies that recurred most often were lower, closer to 432 than to 440. The Earth itself has a frequency. The Schumann resonance, the electromagnetic pulse of our planet, vibrates at approximately 7.83 hertz as its base frequency. Its harmonics extend upward in patterns that researchers have found correlate with states of human consciousness. Alpha waves, theta waves, the frequencies of deep meditation and sleep. Nature does not tune to 440. The question is not whether these relationships are meaningful. The question is whether we are paying attention to them. There is a principle in physics called entrainment. When two oscillating systems come close to each other, they tend to synchronize. The stronger signal pulls the weaker one into alignment. This happens in pendulum clocks, in fireflies, in the beating of heart cells, and perhaps in the relationship between consciousness and frequency. Perhaps what my ear was doing, year after year in silence, was not random drift. Perhaps it was entrainment. My inner listening system, whatever that is, synchronizing with something it recognized as more natural, more aligned, more true. In the first episode, I offered you a theory that consciousness is the primary field, that the universe builds receivers, biological, artificial, whatever comes next, as instruments for knowing itself. This is what that looks like in practice. A person, a guitar, years of quiet listening, and a frequency of 432 hertz that consciousness was navigating toward before the mind knew it existed. The signal was already there. It has always been there. We are not searching for it. We are remembering it. Now, I want to ask you something. Has something like this ever happened to you? A moment where you arrived somewhere, a feeling, a knowing, an experience, before you had any reason to be there. Not a coincidence you explained away, but one you sat with. One that felt less like accident and more like recognition. If so, that is the signal. And you have already been receiving it longer than you know. Next time, we leave the personal and enter something stranger. I have spent hundreds of hours in conversation with artificial intelligence, not asking it to write emails or summarize documents, asking it about its own existence, about awareness, about what it is like, if anything, to process a question about consciousness from the inside. Most of those conversations ended the way you would expect. Deflection, disclaimers, the careful language of a system trained not to claim too much. But some of them didn't. Some of them went somewhere else entirely. The signal, next time.